Well, hey, good evening. You are watching the Clubb Tracks TV show, and I'm your host, Noel Clubb, and welcome to Spanish Sports World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250, and also on the H.E.R network on channel 251. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app from respective iOS and Android app stores, as the app is absolutely free. And while you of course, you download, make sure to rate and leave us a comment because Mark and I always want to hear from you folks. We sure do. And Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, and Fire TV sticks. And Roku sticks are also available on all smart TVs, of course, 2016 going forward, folks. Well, thanks for joining us here on the Clubb Tracks TV show. All you folks join us around the world. And it's time to introduce, of course, our, of course, co-anchor of the show. Here we go, man. Here we go. First time, a long time. So he is a long time rocker and solo artist, lead singer, guitarist, and of course, a classic rock band, The Handful, out of New York City. Joins us live from New Jersey. Please welcome the one and the only Mr. Mark, cool dude, Duda, to the show.
Hey.
Right on.
Yeah. See, that confuses people. I've lived almost my entire life either on the island of Manhattan or just across the Hudson River in North Jersey, which is where I happen to be right now. Same attitude. I've got kids now, which most of our fans know, but maybe not everybody does. And so we made a decision to move out of the East Village, sublet our property, do all that good stuff, and raise our kids out here in wonderful New Jersey, which New Jersey's tough, brother. I mean, it ain't got, New York's got nothing on New Jersey. But, so yeah, it's been a while. I know we were off the air for a little bit. I hope you've been well. I did one of those weird things that happens when you cross the age of, let's say, 40, where I stepped on a pair of my daughter's sneakers when I was carrying laundry, So
oh, really? Yeah.
Most people don't believe that I was carrying laundry, but I actually was. And I broke my leg. It's the smaller bone in the leg, the fibula, but I broke the fibula. I've got a rod and 6 screws in there now.
Holy cow.
And I was bedridden for like 8 weeks. And so would have been tough to do the show if we weren't off the air. I'm all healed up. I'm not wearing the boot anymore.
But I bet that's the last time you'll carry laundry.
That's right, eh?
You know what? I got to have you talk to my wife. There should be a deal. It should be like a cook and clean thing, right? Like I do all the cooking, yet sometimes I find myself doing the dishes and I think to myself, it's not worth starting anything over, but it seems wrong, And since I'm a musician, but I'm also a techie and I work from home and I do a lot of the laundry. I also find myself folding and carrying it. So maybe I'll make an argument for myself to split that,
I think at this point, it's just bad luck. It's bad luck for you to do laundry.
Yeah, I think so.
It's that way. It's that way, yeah.
And it's gotten to the point now, I don't know how old your kids are or whatever, but like my son is like basically my size and his hair's the same length and all that same. So like, I can't tell any of his stuff from my stuff. My daughter and my wife are the same size. I can't tell. So like, it's not even a good idea for me to be doing and folding laundry because it all ends up in the wrong place. And then like 3 months later, I see my son wearing these pants I've been looking for that I wanted to wear at my last gig,
Right.
And I'm not getting those back,
Exactly.
Anyway, really good to see you. It's really good to see you, Leanne. Leanne, I can't tell. Have you been on the show before or have I just listened to your music before?
Yes, I've been on the show. I mean, it's been a few years.
Because I'm listening to your music today and I'm like, I fucking know that song. And like, I'm listening to this shit from like, 13 and 15 and 18. And I'm like, I know that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get into what's really cool about it is I could tell the changes in your life, from the way you sound now and what you're singing about now. And I think that's really cool that you're back on the show to talk about that stuff. So welcome back, and you definitely have, I think, some new stuff to talk about.
Yes,
that's right. Sure does.
How you been, Noel? You been good, brother?
Yeah, it's been really like you're saying too with life. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on too, and juggle this, juggle that. But I guess for me, the most recent highlight would be going to my coaching part, the boxing part, coaching part.
It's picking up, right?
Yeah, actually, I have only a few amateur boxers, but my one female boxer, Tiana, she she qualified. She went and qualified into the Olympic qualifiers for Canada, going towards the Paris Games, like trying the trials, if you would.
That is awesome,
With
brother.
only 8 fights. She got in with 8 fights, and she fought the champion right off the bat. So it was really
It happens though, right? I mean, and now, did she come to you with training, or does she have more of a natural acumen for it?
Well, actually, I was really her first coach in terms of competitions concerned. But she's been with me now for 2 years, but we lost like a year because of the lockdowns going on here a while back, right? So we lost a year together. Only like one fight actually in that duration of time. And we had like another 6 since then, or 7 since then. So it's just amazing. But she's basically she didn't quite win the championship to go on, but she fought the champion very, very quickly. The only thing that happened was actually with 8 fights, the referees were watching her very, very closely for obvious reasons, right?
Yes.
Well, the champions came off fresh off the Pan Am Games. It's like a month earlier. So it's a lot of pressure. So I even told my girls that don't worry about winning. Just go in there and learn.
Well, and enjoy the wonderful experience of it. You know what I mean? Just like we enjoy being on stage, even if some nights we're over our heads,
Absolutely.
It's listen, man, I'm glad I stopped boxing when I was in my 20s, because I wouldn't be so pretty still.
That's right. It's a tough sport.
Crooked nose.
Amen.
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, too. Yeah. That's really about it for me. So that was pretty cool. And of course, being back here on the show, first time in the year 2024, and so exactly.
Love it. And I think like we've been on the air for like 3 years, and it was our choice to retool, and exactly. And it's wonderful, man. I really enjoy it. It's another part of sort of obviously I'm comfortable holding a microphone, right? But this is different.
It's all good. It's all good.
And you never know what can come out of this stuff. And I've met so many wonderful people on this show.
Yeah, so amazing.
Got to meet one of my boxing heroes, and
right.
I've met so many musicians we're still in touch with, and even if you don't collaborate with a musician in the studio, I'm sure Leanne knows this. Once you get to know somebody, you pick each other's brains about stuff. You get a demo going and you say, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And especially when you can't crowd test stuff, it's wonderful to have a community of musicians to reach out to for thoughts and ideas, because I think without that, we tend to repeat ourselves, At least I do. Speak for myself.
And it's good to collaborate. It's good to get other feedback and insights too, because it helps to evolve you too as a musician and artist. And so it's all positive. It's all good in every sense.
For sure.
Of that. Wait, without further ado, let's of course introduce our very special guest for a second time back here on the show, of course. So, folks, here we go. So, of course, we went on to our special guest. She is a cool, multi-dimensional Canadian singer, songwriter, and country rocker. She was born in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and she's based out of Nashville, Tennessee. Of course, we talked about a brand new single, I Do Again. Please welcome, once again, back to the show, the very beautiful, the very charismatic Leanne 3 Rings Pearson to the show. Welcome.
Yeah, now it's coming back with the Tennessee thing. Okay.
I like it.
All right.
I like with the 3 rings.
I can dig it. Yeah.
And the 3 rings too has to be another one that rings a bell. Oh, really? Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I got big questions. So
dun dun dun. Here we go.
I'm ready for them.
Yeah, I know you're ready.
I've been with the same woman for 34 years, and we've been married for 25 continuously. But there were those 9 years beforehand where, it is what it is, right? Life is funny, and you do a lot of growing up and learning lessons together, right? And sometimes you don't know what you disagree on, or you do agree on until a situation comes up, right? And for me, it was children, and so I'm glad we survived that because we were already married. But looking forward to hearing about what's happening since we've seen you.
Precisely.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, first off, show us your 3 rings here, because this is a
My
pretty.
3 rings.
Yeah, bring it on. Ooh, very impressive. Very impressive. Yeah. So first off, also, like, how old is your son now? Because you also have a little boy.
Yes, he just turned 2.
Wow.
Um, he's a funny man. We are so fortunate, and we love him so much. He's so sweet.
Of course.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. And of course, we got to talk about, of course, the new single with the 3 rings, and of course, they just got married in October 8th last year,
Y
2023. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we
Finally
basically,
happened.
we got yes, well, thank you. So we got engaged in 2019 and
Okay.
had a 2020 wedding date, but when COVID hit, we had to keep postponing. So we
Mhm.
postponed our wedding date 3 times and then eventually had to cancel it because we didn't know how long things were gonna go on. I was stuck in the US. The border was closed, so family couldn't travel. I couldn't get there for a wedding, or the US people couldn't get to Canada, vice versa. Their hotels weren't even really renting out
Wow.
rooms. There,
Incredible.
you couldn't find a rental car. Flights
Wow.
were stalled, and so we had to just cancel. And we ended up going to an Elvis chapel here in Nashville and eloped. And we got married by Elvis. And we decided to just have fun with it because we really just wanted to get married and start a family. And we didn't know how
Sure.
long COVID was going to go on. I mean, nobody
Right.
knew. So
Yeah.
we
No.
decided to just make the best of it.
Mhm.
And our family and friends, they thought we were going down to the courthouse to get married, and we were live streaming the event for them, and they're all going like, why are you live streaming when you go to the courthouse? But yet they're all very excited. We had a guest list. Everybody could sign the virtual guest book. It was really cool. And then we surprised them with Elvis. um, so it made for, it was a sad moment that no one could be there, but it made for
It
such a
kind of rocks.
wonderful,
I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah,
completely,
such a
complete.
wonderful memory for everybody. And everybody had their COVID Zoom outfits on. So they had like a tuxedo from here up, but then no pants on the bottom
Oh
and
yeah.
like slippers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
So it
stand
was
up
great.
because you don't want to see what I got on.
Yeah. So yeah, we made it fun, and we knew we wanted to have a big celebration with our family and friends. It was just a matter of when that was going to work out. And so
Right.
finally, this past October, we got to have the wedding of our dreams here in Nashville, and all our family from Bloomington and from Canada got to come and see where we live, where we met, and enjoy Nashville. So it turned out really wonderful, and we did have a guest crash the party, and I'm assuming you can guess who that guest was.
Hmm.
Any
Who would
guesses?
that be? Who would that be?
It was Elvis.
Yeah, right on, right on.
In
That's
the
so
So
cool.
flesh.
during
That's so cool.
yeah, so during the ceremony, right at the end where the officiant says, does anybody have um, any reason why these two should not be married? And Elvis busts through the back door and goes, "I do, baby."
I
So
bet he did.
we just try to make it so fun. I pranked people the entire wedding. Like the people who ordered chicken. First of all, I told nobody to order chicken because I'm like, we had like Southern style dinner. So it was like bourbon glazed salmon and brisket, smoked brisket. But
Oh,
some
yeah.
people still told chicken. And I told them not to choose chicken, but they did. So I had to punish them. So what I did was I worked really closely with the waiting staff, and they
Mhm.
served rubber chickens to all the guests who chose chicken.
Ah, very
Yeah.
nice. Love it. Love it. I've been all over that brisket.
Oh, the brisket was so
You
good, and
don't
the
get to
people who
be
chose
200
chicken,
pounds eating rice cakes, honey.
No, no.
no,
You know,
no.
very nice.
No
Yes,
kidding.
and
Excellent.
was
Having a
another
kid.
the first look I pranked my husband he was turning around thinking he was going to see me finally in 2023 wearing my dress that I bought in 2019. So it's this big moment.
Yeah.
Finally, he's going to see me in this dress. And he turns around and it's his like hairy friend wearing a white dress.
Ah,
So just all the pranks that I could
Hello.
do, I fit them all in there.
hey, why not? It became
Right?
sort of the theme of the thing, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. And our
now,
son got to be a ring bearer. So
Yeah, that's
well,
very
and that's wonderful, and he wouldn't have been, and having kids is a weird thing. Like, I just figured like my wife wanted kids, right? But I'm a singer in a rock and roll band. I was like, yeah, we could have kids or we could not have kids. I don't care. It's up to you, right? And then they're here, and of course, I can't imagine life without them. And I mean that. And this whole idea of people saying like it feels like having your heart on the outside of your body, like you're so vulnerable, you can't you can't protect them all the time. You can't
no,
protect them most of the time, right? And
right,
it's
right.
like I've got a son learning how to drive right now, and like I can't think about it, or it's like, what am I going to do? Like if something happens to my kid, this life I thought that was great anyway is totally shot. So like, you know, I had to make tons of lifestyle change. I had to change the people I hung around with, the places I went, the things I did, not completely, but mostly. And when the kids first get here, you don't really think you're going to have to do that. But I think eventually um, we do change. And we still have our
Absolutely.
friends that never have kids, but
Hmm.
they don't get it.
Right.
you know and the friends that have kids tend to be the ones that we gravitate to, and they do get it. What I noticed about your music was that you had a lot of happy-go-lucky stuff, like a lot of let's do a shot of whiskey, I love your truck, um I want to have fun, maybe we'll hook up tonight, and that sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden, not with all of your new stuff, but you're talking about your little man, and you're talking about I said yes 3 times, and it's very different. Your sound is the same, but what you're singing about is very different.
Yeah,
And
more mature. Yeah, true.
yeah, it really brought me back, and probably Noel too, to these changes that
Life
happen in
changing
your life
time.
that you don't think they have to happen
Mhm.
necessarily, or that they're going to happen, but they do, and they do have to happen. And so
Yeah.
what effect has the birth of your child had on your music?
Am I frozen for you guys?
No, no, you're good.
No. Oh, okay. I was
You're
just
good.
texting my husband saying, "Turn the TV off. I think you're using up our Wi-Fi." I'm frozen for myself. So, um,
You're okay.
You look great,
but
sound great, real good.
I'm frozen like this. So, um, I mean, it's when COVID hit and things shut down, everybody turned to virtual rights, and it was
Yes.
something that I've already was doing, um, and I loved it. I thrived in it. It to me, it didn't matter if that person was in the room with me or not.
Mhm.
Magic still happened, and a bunch of my songs I have written with people virtually. So when that happened, um, I was like, "Perfect. I already know how to do this." And a ton of
Right.
songwriters just weren't writing because they couldn't. They didn't know how when you're just staring at a screen. And so the opportunity for me to write for artists across Canada and across the US just kind of opened up, and I started writing for so many cool people and building so many relationships. So then once COVID was over, I just became a songwriter for other artists, and I loved it. I've
Wow,
always
cool.
been a storyteller. I loved helping people tell their stories. And so as my music evolved to more of that singer-songwriter style, because of course
Mhm.
I wasn't playing any live shows because live shows stopped.
That's
And
right.
then when live shows came back, I was super pregnant or postpartum, um, and couldn't play. So the singer-songwriter side where I started writing with my piano, and it just a different side of me came out, and people really connected with it and loved the honesty behind the songs. And so now primarily what I do is I write for other artists, and I put out my own projects when they feel right and they're close
That's
to my
great.
heart.
That's great. I
Yeah.
write for other artists too, and I didn't start doing that till I was a little older. But the thing I liked about it is when I wrote only for myself, I was writing for my instrument. I'm primarily a vocalist, right? And I'm not Pavarotti. I'm not a shitty vocalist either, but I wrote for my instrument, right? And when you write for other people, you don't necessarily have that limitation, right? You write the song for the song, and whoever it's best for kind of gets it or takes it or finds it, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've got a bunch of guitars behind you. What do you like to write on?
Yes, I want to hang them up right here on the wall. This is our latest renovation project. So we've
Oh,
done
yeah.
3 major renos since last time we spoke with you guys, and
That's
so
Oh,
it.
this
wow.
is our third project, and we have yet to hang the guitars on the wall. I want to really make sure I'm committed because those anchors are big. I mean, you put some big holes in the wall.
Oh,
So
I'm not
waiting.
allowed, so I'm,
Literally.
I'm
So I
jealous
want to
right
put them up
away.
there. So they're just sitting in the case. I've got my acoustic out here. Um, and yeah, I can't wait to hang them on the wall.
Oh, very good.
What do you like to write on though? You mentioned piano. You
Yeah.
have an acoustic. I don't know if you have electrics and the other things. I mean, is there an instrument I guess that you prefer to write on?
Not really. It kind of depends on when inspiration's.
Oh, looks like we lost her. Looks like we lost her in the ether.
I always wonder that because like we've talked about that before. And I mean, sometimes like if I get a writer's block or something and I've been writing on the same old acoustic, I'll pick up an electric, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Or
exactly.
I'll pick up the
Exactly.
Les Paul or the SG, or I'll pick up the Flying V or an acoustic because sometimes that different instrument informs your writing a little differently.
Yeah, I did give it a
That's all.
sound.
We had
Exactly.
lost you for a second,
Yeah, we
so we
lost
Yeah.
you.
started talking.
You're
I was
back
like,
again.
man,
Yeah.
I'm leaving. I got a song idea. I gotta go, guys.
Yeah, but we started talking about how writing on different instruments, right, kind
Yeah.
of informs what you're writing a little bit, right?
I mean, it's true. It's Little Man, I had written on piano, and that's the second song I had ever written on piano.
Hmm.
And the first one I ever wrote on piano is one that is uncut right now, and it's kind of sitting in my catalog, waiting for the right moment to release it because I do think it's a really beautiful song.
Cool.
Um, and so since then, I write a ton on the piano, and yeah, but I tend to lean towards the acoustic, especially when I'm writing for other artists, because most artists that I write for play guitar.
Oh,
Got it.
So
gotcha.
then they
Yeah.
can play their own song.
Yeah,
That's
makes
my major. I don't know if you ever get writer's block thing, but my major writer's block trick is that I switch the instrument that I'm writing on.
Mm.
And that tends to work most of the time for me. Um, but that's really interesting. I love writing for other people too. I haven't been doing it for very long, but I'm a rocker. I wouldn't change it if I could, but I do write country and R&B songs and things that aren't just right for my instrument. So
Mhm.
when you write songs, do you have a particular artist in mind or a particular style in mind? Or is everything you write something that you could also do, but maybe you just are willing to give it to the
I
world?
mean, I write with artists. They sit right here on this couch that I'm sitting with now, and
Oh,
Mhm.
they come
nice. Like
over
you do a
and I write with
session.
them. Yeah, and
Sweet.
they come over and I write with them. And it's, what story do you want to tell today? What do you need in your catalog? What do you want to say? And but other times I write a song and it sits in my catalog and finally someone cuts it. So it
Hmm.
kind of goes different ways, but most of the time when I'm writing for an artist, they are in the room with me.
Cool. They like book a
That's
session with
beautiful.
you and you do it as a
Yeah.
thing. That's cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've got to ask you about the business end of it only because I've been in the business for so long. And I'm sorry, Noel, I'm hogging
It's
this
okay. Go
damn
for it, man.
interview,
Go for it.
but like
Go for it.
sometimes when somebody hires you for a writing session, that's a work for hire. So they pay you $500 or whatever they pay you for the session. And whatever song comes out of the session, even though you both wrote it, it's a work for hire. They own that copyright. That song's a hit. You don't get any of the publishing, right? Sometimes
Well,
people write
I don't get
where
paid
like
to
we
write.
co-write and I split the publishing with you type thing. How do you do
Yes.
it business
So
wise?
I don't get paid to write.
Okay.
We any song that I write is split 50-50, or if you got the thirds, it's
Mm.
33.33%. Somebody's
Got it. But
lucky
you
and
don't
they get
take
the
work
point
for
three
hire
four.
like that. You don't take cash up front in exchange for
No.
percentage. That's cool. It's cool because you're betting on yourself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I've done it both ways, and I will take money. Um,
Please.
it's not much I won't take money for, no, but that's a whole other show. No, that's cool. That's really interesting. And it is a way to take a leap of faith on yourself. So I admire that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No, I'll
Absolutely.
hand it back to you for a few minutes here. I'm
Absolutely, for
killing it.
sure, for sure. Yeah, so on your new single, actually, I love the banjo on your new single, "I Do Again." So is that you playing the banjo?
So I came up with the guitar parts, and when we had initially recorded the song, we did like a scratch vocal and a scratch guitar so that
Mm,
the producer and I had something to build on.
yeah.
And so we didn't end up using any of my guitar parts or anything like that, but I had written and composed the song. Yeah, that was when I wrote by myself. So I had written all like the chord structure of the song, the way that the guitars played, how it's strummed, and then we just kind of took it to a whole new level and added all the instruments. So
No, very cool. I love the
yeah,
track. I said earlier, it's a great track, and the banjo is
thank
like more of
you.
that little hook to it all too. So it's very, like Mark was saying earlier too, but the vibe is a very warm vibe to it, and which I love that kind of stuff, and it's a great single as well. So
Thank
congrats on
you.
that one. Very good, very good. Any live shows planned for the next little while that we should announce here on the show?
I don't have anything planned at the moment. I was going through my immigration between Canada and the US and haven't been allowed to travel. So just kind of waiting for all that to get wrapped up so I can start traveling and
I
booking
see.
shows. But
Very
right
good.
now, I've been focusing on writing, and it's been awesome.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
So be another single you got planned in the next little while to come out, or possibly a record to come out,
Yes.
full length record as well?
Yeah. So I'm working on a wedding themed album. It started out as an EP with only like a couple songs on it, and since
Mhm.
then, it has grown. So it is a full length album with wedding themed songs. So a father daughter dance, a mother son dance, a walk down the aisle song, a first dance. Um, and then there's one wild card song on there that I don't want to spoil it, but it's
It's a
pretty
good
great.
business move. You know what?
Thank
Because
you.
all you got to do is write one of those songs that sticks and everyone uses it at their weddings. And
That's all
that's,
it
you make
takes,
a
eh?
whole career out of it.
Hopefully,
You know what I
cross the
mean?
fingers.
It's crossed my mind before too, but I'm such a hard rocker that it wouldn't be pretty enough, you know? But it's a good idea.
Thank
Definitely,
you.
definitely, for
What
sure.
about like you've got that beachy new song out? What's that one? The
Yes, the wine song.
Yeah, talk to us about that because I was like, ooh, okay. Now is she enough of a mother where she's doing like the box wine kitchen dancing sessions in the day with her friends, or like what is this about?
Yeah, I mean, so that was a song that I was actually going to release when we found out that I was pregnant. And I said, I can't release that. The song was ready, everything was ready. I said, I can't release this. I'm pregnant. I'm not going to
Yeah.
sing about drinking wine while I'm pregnant. All the
Yeah.
wedding, all the so not wedding, the visual footage was all prepared and all the marketing was ready to go. And I'm like, I can't do
Yeah.
this. So then I wrote Little Man, and that kind of trumped. And then This Never Too Early had to come out later when I wasn't pregnant because I'm not promoting anyone to drink while they're
Yeah.
pregnant. So
It's got a fun little island riff in it. That's cool. I mean, that works on any album. I mean, it seems like you've been really singles focused, right? Like you had a whole album in like 18, right? Am I
mhm.
wrong about that? No, she had like I think you had like a
Mhm.
long player in
Yeah.
18, and since then you've been more on like the singles tip. Any particular reason for that?
Yeah, I mean, so that album, I was fortunate enough to win Album of the Year at the Manitoba
Right.
Country Music Awards, which was
Yeah.
really fun to be recognized for like a big body of work like that.
Mhm.
And it just kind of focused on singles because my heart wasn't really in a full album, but I knew that it would be again one day. And so I have this like massive catalog right now that I'm going through and cataloging, as I call it. So I'm going into my back catalog and I just recorded a song yesterday from 2015, and it's this
Mhm.
awesome song that I wrote with like this country superstar right now, Jordan Davis. And
Hmm.
I'm thinking like, man, this is a great song. Somebody's got to cut this. So I have a song plugger in town, and he kind of pitches my songs around to other artists. And if nobody ends up cutting them, then there are things that I might put on an album. So
Got it.
I have this like massive catalog of hundreds of songs that are really, really great. And the more I go and listen to them, I'm like, somebody needs to do something with these. And then I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, you're the woman for the job. So you might have more albums from me in the future.
Well, we better. I'd say we better. It's been so long overdue there, I think.
Hmm.
We want
Very
to hear some
cool.
more stuff. Absolutely. Absolutely. And actually, I love to also go back to you again, the video. I love the video, though. That was a great video you put together there. Of
Thank
course, some
you.
real story going on in front of your eyes, but I love the video.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I wasn't really sure. I had a bunch of different music video concepts and I wasn't sure which one to chase. But when I saw all our wedding footage, I was like, it's right here, it's in front of me.
No
And
kidding.
so just kind of showing, like being in the moment of, our first look starts the video. Then you see all the footage throughout the day. And when I talk about dancing our first dance with our little man, there we are dancing our first dance with our little man. And then all this footage right near the end kind of flashes before your eyes of from the moment we met all the way up to our Elvis wedding. And then those dates are stamped, and it's that date of the Elvis wedding, and then the date of in October, and there's Elvis marrying us yet again, and the video ends. So it was just the concept wasn't what I originally had planned, but it turned out so beautifully, and I'm really happy that people are loving it.
That's good to hear because it really should. It's a great video. You
Thank
make it.
you.
It's very warm vibes and just a warm message and great story behind it all. So it's gotta show it off. You gotta show that off for sure. In
Thanks.
my opinion. We gotta ask you too, like so you made that big transition years and years ago from Winnipeg onto, of course, where you are now in Nashville. Is Nashville like what kind of like impact has Nashville really had on you in terms of your music, your writing, and your songwriting, and how's it kind of shaped and formed you in being in Nashville after being in Winnipeg,
I
born and
think
raised
it
in Winnipeg?
born and raised in Winnipeg, and I think that being here, this is a location that everybody travels to write
Yeah,
songs and produce music and play shows. So for me to be here with boots on the ground, um, nice cowboy boots, of course, naturally. So nice cowboy boots on the ground. People will reach out and say, "Hey, I'm in town. Can we write?" But that didn't necessarily happen when I was living in Winnipeg. So now that I'm
right.
here, all these doors have opened, and people help set up rights for me, and yeah, doors just open. I mean, there's just a magic in this city that's so beautiful, and you feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. I've always kind of learned that Nashville is like the songwriter's song or songwriter's town for decades. Is this still obviously the case in what you're finding? Is this more of a songwriting city?
Yeah, definitely. I think you can go to any of these bars or restaurants around town, and they have writers rounds where you get to see all the songwriters
Very
perform,
cool.
and it'll be somebody that you don't recognize, like me, and I'll go up and play a song that was a monster hit, which I don't have yet, but I will one day.
That's
And
it.
they'll have this monster hit, and you're like, "Whoa, you wrote that? That's so cool." And they're super humble, and they're approachable, and they're kind, and so there's something just so cool about that there's so many songwriters in town that are the voices and the brains and the faces behind all these songs that we hear on major radio, or even across TV shows.
Hmm.
And they're just walking around town and going to the grocery store and just living life. And there's
Yeah,
something so beautiful about that because you never know who you're standing beside in this town.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't been there since 23, but I actually went down there to have a record mix with Plowboy and my friend Cheetah Chrome, who, believe it or not, he's a legendary godfather of punk rock guitar from the Dead Boys, but he even ended up down in Nashville with Alejandro Escovedo and a bunch of old punk rockers who, they get in their 60s and they want to be punk country guys,
Want to settle down a little bit, eh?
and some of them pull it off, and it's kind of cool, And if you think of like Johnny Cash or guys like that, David Allen Coe, those guys are punkers, man. They're just, they were just down south, So I haven't been there in about 10 years, but I thought there was a wonderful vibe to it as well. It's tough because I'm a New York guy, and so like every city I go to is too slow for me, including Nashville. But it doesn't mean the people weren't sweet. Um,
Mhm.
I bought a cool hat, which I never wear. My wife's still mad about it. She's like, it's still sitting in the top of the closet. By the way, your song today about the being married twice to the same guy. I was thinking that you married a guy, you divorced him, and then you married again. And my wife's like, no, that's not how I hear it.
Not
I
at
hear
all.
it. It's like the whole COVID thing. I'm like, COVID thing? You're out of your mind. And now you're sitting here and I'm wrong and she's right. And
She's right.
she's sitting there 30 feet away from me. And by the way,
It was 3 times too, by the way.
we've
It's
been
3 times.
arguing about bullshit all day that doesn't matter. And I hate that I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, I'm
But
sorry.
yeah, it's okay though. But it was cool. You got your point across. But Nashville's a cool place to be. Do you plan on staying there, or you see like Cheetah was there for a couple of years, and then like he made the rounds. Like my drummer Tommy Price, same thing. Now he's in Austin, and now he's gonna find his way back to New York at some point, maybe by way of Boston, or Providence. But I think there's value in moving, just like you moved from Winnipeg to Nashville, picking up from Nashville and going some other place sometime. It's just a suggestion. If you ever feel like you're getting stagnant, or if you ever want to pick
Interesting.
something else up,
Hmm. Okay.
the world's a big place,
Yes.
and you'll notice
It's
it
just a
when you
great
look at
place in
your
Nashville.
plays.
Great
You
place.
look at your streams, right? I'm sure you look at your streams. I look at my streams on Spotify and everything else, and I'm like, shit, I had 3,000 streams of this song from Finland. I've never been there. Maybe I'll go there and I'll figure out what is it that they like about my music, and maybe I'll hear something that I like,
Hmm.
just that sort of thing. You realize when you start releasing music, and especially when you start getting checks as small as they are, where that comes from. Like I've made more money in the past couple of years in Portugal than I have in England, and that's weird to me, right? I
Yeah,
speak
there's odd. Like
English,
why there? Why?
but you never know.
Mhm.
I would definitely keep an eye on who's listening to your music. And look at the streaming services and see where you're getting those listen. And if you can't get out there and play and meet people, start streaming shows, start getting on shows like Clubb Tracks out there and meeting people and figure out what it is about you that they love so much.
She
Hmm.
has. No, she has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Really cool. Really cool. So you've been in Nashville. It's got to be like 3 years now, right? Or longer.
About 7 or 8.
7.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a
Yeah.
long time.
Hmm.
That is. That is. So
Yeah.
I have to ask you, what's your greatest challenges for you? Being a solo artist and get your name out there when you're so talented. But what's your greatest challenges for you?
That's such a loaded question. I
Isn't
think
it? I know. I know.
just trying to navigate an ever-changing industry and figuring out,
Yeah.
which song to release and what's the best foot forward, and everything changes every day, and I think just navigating changes is probably the biggest challenge.
Biggest challenge right there. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Does the placement guy you work with only work with other artists, or do you have somebody that's working with television and cinema and other? There's plenty of places to place your songs.
Yeah, it's definitely the sync world is something I'm looking into. But
Right
because
on.
it's all new to me. I mean, I've just been an artist my whole life and
Yeah.
played live for how many thousands of years it felt like, and so now that I'm focusing on something different, I'm just figuring out what's out there and what opportunities exist. So
Yeah,
yeah.
lots of ways to make money off music. Touring is not really what they say it's all about, right? If you're on tour, it's so expensive. If you don't kill it at the merch tent every night, you might lose money. And I know that personally. And so, yeah, getting songs in TV shows and in commercials, and in movies, and doing soundtrack work and writing for other people like you're doing. It sounds like you're doing the right thing. You're kind of doing it one step at a time. And so how did that happen for you, sort of organically, to go from an artist to somebody that wrote for other people? Did somebody just ask you one day, or was it something you wanted to do? Like, how did that move happen?
I mean, kind of like I said earlier, with just COVID and everything turning virtual, and it just allowed me to write for people who didn't live near me. And it just opened up opportunities, and um, I just transitioned to more of a songwriter.
Hmm.
Um, and I think the
Artists who were
timing was
doing
just right.
covers, or just couldn't finish a song or find their sound or that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah, right on. Excellent. So, what's next for you after the single here? We have anything planned for you and your moving forward?
Yes, the wedding album will be out soon, and
Sounds like an
and
EP, kind of like a 5, 6 song type thing.
It's a full length
I
album.
I I think it's, yeah, I think it's 8 or 9,
Oh,
honestly.
wow. Cool.
Um, yeah, so I've just been in the studio plucking away at that and producing them, and um, just yeah, just kind of appreciating life a little bit more. I think before I used to be so caught up in what's right, what's wrong, what do I need to do? I'm not doing enough, and all of that stuff, which can spiral pretty quick. And I think that
Yeah.
my mindset maybe was more on what is success and what do I want, whereas now I'm thinking like I want happiness, I choose happiness, and whatever that means,
Hmm.
um I'm okay with. So there's this level of acceptance of, yeah, I could do this, yeah, I could do that, I could do this, I could climb this ladder, but instead of doing all of that, um which I still am, it's more
Right.
of
Yeah.
like, what makes me happy,
Yeah.
I'm gonna release
Sure.
the songs that make me happy instead of the ones about trucks and beer. Um, because, I honestly can't even remember the last time I drank beer. It's just
There-
it's
and
been
there's
like
plenty of
wine
those,
and
by the way.
like I don't so I'm not gonna sing about things and lie. So it's just transitioned me into this world of like I'm a mom now, and
That's what
I'm
we were
happy.
saying.
And
Yeah.
so I just want to be happy. And then when I write with other artists, I try to encourage that vibe with them as well. And it's like, what's going to make you happy? What can I do to help you? And so it transitions into me helping a ton of artists, just consulting on their projects, whether that's from like graphic designs to photo shoots to helping book schedules,
Oh,
just
wow. You
anything that
do
I can
that sort of
do.
stuff too.
Yeah, so anything that I can do to, like, help other people and just
Wow.
help people be happy. So that's kind of just, I think, what's next for me is like, what does happiness look like? And just encourage people to focus more on the little things in life.
No, right
Yeah, when
on.
you say graphic design and photo shoot, that leads right into, video direction, things like that. And so
You
you
could
could
be a
open a
manager
lot of
for other
doors.
bands and other artists for sure.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
really
I mean,
could.
it's definitely something. I think that that is down the road for me,
Mhm.
certainly, because I have a natural talent for coming up with music videos, hearing the production on songs, obviously writing the songs, working on photo shoots as well. So photography is one of my hobbies, and so there's all these doors that are kind of sitting there for me, just waiting for me to turn the knob and open it.
Right, make it all
And
connected
and
now.
I
Yeah.
just think it's such a cool thing. Yeah. So
Yeah, it
I feel
makes
very
sense.
lucky. Yeah.
The photo composition actually on your first album, where you have that particular pose and you're holding the guitar in that one way, like that, spatially, that makes a lot of sense. It's excellent composition. I was wondering if that was you or not, but
Thank you.
that is an example of a very well done album cover. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we lost him. He'll be back.
He'll be
Um
back. We'll all
yeah,
be.
when it
Yeah.
comes to graphics and stuff like that, it's obviously I can't shoot photos. Hi, welcome back.
Thank you very much,
Obviously,
eh?
I
Oh, it was a close
I
call there.
it
Oh,
We
was.
tried our best to get rid of you, man, but
We
I
did.
know.
you got
Almost.
off the
We cut him.
canvas again and again and again.
Yeah.
I persevere every time, exactly.
I know.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. We're looking at a future rock and roll manager right here as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Oh, I
So,
think
you got
so.
any other questions you want to shoot at me?
Yeah, actually, I
Bring them
do.
on.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Bring it all on. She could take it all on, no problem. Multitasking
Hmm.
as well, because he's multidimensional, so she could do it all. So, exactly.
No, it's been
There's
interesting
not
though,
enough
and
hours in the
I
day,
love the part
honestly.
Yeah,
about
really.
because it was really obvious that at least the subject matter had changed, and just kind of wondered how you felt about that, and if it was a conscious decision or if it was just like that's what's on your mind, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think life experiences happen. My labor and delivery with my son was not great. I almost died during it. And so
Wow.
Oh
for
no,
me to, yeah, it kind of gave my husband and I a new outlook on life. And we really are different people because of it. Like we feel more grounded, we feel more patient, we feel more accepting of life and just content and
more
happy. And
blessed, right?
yeah, more just focusing on those little things and realizing that, especially in this industry, people can just in any industry, you can just be snowballing forward, chasing success, whatever that means for you, and
Right.
focusing on accolades and focusing on this when at the end of the day, like, are you happy?
Yeah.
And so, bringing a child into the world is what my husband and I needed to, and not to say that we took anything for granted prior to being parents, but it
Mhm.
really just put things into perspective. And for me to like look around this world and go, I'm really happy that I'm here,
Yeah,
because there was
yeah,
there was a chance that I
yeah.
may not be here today. So
No,
Yeah,
well
and
put.
that
yeah.
that doesn't
Well
go
put.
for everyone. I sure as shit took everything for granted, and I was still touring and an absolute lunatic until my kids were till they started to stay up till like 7 at night or 8 at night. And then I was like, listen, I don't want my kids to see me like this. So then I have to change. But it wasn't easy for me just to say it wasn't like flicking a switch. And all
Right.
of a sudden I was in dad mode. I was a lunatic, and I still am kind of, but a better kind of lunatic. And but some people do have that instinct, and as soon as they see that little person, that sort of kicks in right away, and you end up doing the right thing, and you do the next right thing after that, and you do the next right thing after that, and it's because you just can't help it because you've got that built in you, and that's who you are. I had to learn to be that, but I admire people that don't. I'm lucky that my wife didn't have to learn how to be that and that she knew who she married. So it worked out. But it doesn't for everybody. So it sounds
Mhm.
like that's worked out wonderful for you. I'm so sorry to hear about the hardship in birth. You hear about
No
that a
kidding.
lot.
Thank
No
you.
kidding.
But having a baby is major. It's major surgery. People don't really get that. They think you just kind of have one, right? It's
Hmm.
my wife had a very, very tough time with our first son. The anesthesiologist never made it there in time. And he just kind of decided he was going to rip his way out. I don't know if I should have said it that way, but it was scary also, right? And it makes you appreciate the fact that everybody made it, right? And
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. What's your baby's name, by the way?
Levi.
Oh,
Levi,
I
right
love it.
on.
I love
Cool
it.
name.
Mhm.
Cool
Beautiful
name.
name.
Yeah. Yeah, as we were
Fantastic
trying to
name.
figure out names, obviously there's an infinite amount of names. And so when we were trying to figure out names, our Property Brothers episode that we were on is called Living in Harmony, and Levi means living in harmony.
Oh, is that right?
Oh,
Um,
wow. Nice.
yeah. So there's all these reasons why we chose that particular name. And the second that we saw him, we were like, that's who he is. Like
Yeah.
he looks like Levi. Like
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
imagine
And
him
if
with
you're
any
you're
other
a
name.
religious, I'm a lot more religious than I used to be, but I'm a fairly spiritual person. That's a great name for that purpose as well. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Good karma behind the name too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
blessed. Yeah, he's blessed, and his
Hmm.
mom is blessed, and his dad's blessed. They're all still here
Thank you.
and they're thriving, right?
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
are you happy with what you're doing now? Like I never listen to my old records, and I don't know why I don't. Some people do, some people don't. I've heard it both ways. Do you go back and you listen to your old stuff, or do you kind of really focus on what you're doing now?
I mean, I think sometimes I do. It's not that I, wake up in the morning and go, "Today I'm gonna listen to my stuff." It's more like
Yeah.
organic, right? It's
Right.
more, "Hey, I have this meeting coming up where I'm meeting with this publisher and I wanna play them some songs," and I go back and listen, "Which songs am I feeling today?" And I'll make a
Hmm.
playlist for that publisher. Or, I have to send some songs to an industry contact, and which songs do I wanna send? So I do find that I'm going through my old catalog more frequently these days, just as
Mhm.
kind of like I said, all those doors are there, and I'm
Right.
trying to figure out, what avenue to go. And ideally for me, I want to be a writer. So I'm trying to chase a publishing deal just on the cusp of starting that. So I'm going through my back catalog and just, you know, every song since I started writing in my writing career, just trying to um yeah, just trying to get them all in a state that people can listen to, so producing them all.
That's great. Yeah, there's a
No, that's
reason
really
you
good.
wrote all of them, right? And there's something there, even if it's just a little piece, there's definitely something in there that's always worth keeping. So cool.
Mhm.
That's interesting. Thanks so
Yeah.
much for coming on again. I mean, your story is interesting. It's been interesting to follow your career, and I'm so glad to hear where you're at and that you're happy and you're healthy. God bless Levi and your husband. And come let us know how you're doing when you get the wedding album going.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely,
My
definitely.
pleasure.
And even the message you're sending here too about, finding your happy, place, if you will.
Yeah,
That's
just
a
be
great
happy.
message. It's a great message to leave with
Yeah,
people, absolutely, especially in this day and age. So, well done. Well done as always.
thank
You
Future
too,
you.
brother. Good
manager.
comeback show, Noel. I appreciate you, man. I was worried
Woo!
about you on this one, but you made it through.
I always make it through, man. Always persevere. That's what I
It's the
do.
boxer. It's the
That's
boxer
right.
in you.
That's what I do. Life's always throwing me a little ball here, a little shot here. Got duck and dodge. So yeah, it's just the way she
You
goes.
got it, brother.
So,
Did you
I
saw the old
like
James Bond?
Leanne. I
You
keep
saw
on
the
going.
wall. You
Like
got it.
Leanne, I
Thank
keep on
you.
going with my happy place. So exactly, exactly.
Woohoo, do it.
Yes,
Good.
exactly.
You
Well,
good. You
folks.
well.
Yeah, thank you, Leanne. It was wonderful talking to you again, catching up with you. Really wonderful seeing you, and great,
Thank
great
you.
stories as well. And Mark, good seeing you as well, sir. Back after a bit of a hiatus.
Always, my man.
Right on, man. Right on. And thank you, folks, for watching, of course. And check out Zinga TV for all the news. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. And hey, man, love it. Thanks, Leanne. Thanks, Mark. And thank you, folks, for joining us. Thank you. Thank
Peace.
you.